15-minute prisons. If you are in the UK right now, particularly if you're in Bath, and not Bath, like some people around here like to pronounce it, Bath. No, I'm not feeling queasy right now, sorry.
You don't even eat scones, do you?
No, I eat scones.
Dreadful.
You can see the absolute malice in his eyes, can't you? No, if you're in Bath right now, you might have noticed a few things popping up, which are mainly restrictions to your ability to move around the city in a car in particular areas. And that's because there is a new drive being pushed by our favourites in the World Economic Forum and all of the organisations that are operating satellites around them for 15-minute cities, which is an idea that sounds really nice on paper. It sounds really nice on paper, and I'll get into exactly what it is as we go along. But before that, we do have a recent book club talking about George Orwell's Animal Farm. It was done between Bo and Connor. It was done premium live, so if you're a member with bronze tier membership or higher, you'll be able to watch that. And if you've not got any of those memberships, what are you doing? We've got so much great content on the website. You really would benefit from getting a membership on here. But yeah, just talking about Animal Farm, which is a classic that I have not actually read. So, very interesting analysis to listen to.
Did you watch the movie at least?
No.
Oh, you should.
The only thing I've read of George Orwell, actually, is a few of his essays. I've got loads of George Orwell at home, but like so much else I have, it's all on my to-read pile.
To be fair, it's not his fault either. He has become overrated just because of all the hype around him.
Yeah, so. I worry about that, but I mean, Animal Farm is only, 90 pages, so I should...
Just watch the movie.
I should read it.
I don't like reading. Watch the movie.
I know you don't like reading. You can barely read.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing.
But yeah, check out that content. It's really good. Connor, I know people don't...
Can't even say Bath.
I know some people don't like Connor and some people really love Connor, but he does always bring some very interesting analysis, and Bo as well always has some very interesting takes on things, so give that a watch. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we? So... I saw this, I was tagged in it by Stan from Voice of Wales, good chap, saying 20-minute neighbourhoods popping up in Bath, 48 planned for the reason, Checkpoint Charlie Papers, please society. And here we can see the images there. And what it seems that they've done to incorporate these 15-minute cities into neighbourhoods, or 15-minute neighbourhoods, or 20-minute neighbourhoods, whatever they're calling them.
Prison Planet over here.
At this point, yes, in the Prison Planet. Have they done anything to improve the actual neighbourhoods? Have they done anything to adjust the neighbourhoods so that you can do... No, they've just blocked off the roads. They've just blocked off the roads, because at the end of the day, as we'll discover, this isn't about making your life more convenient. This isn't about inculcating you within a community spirit or anything like that, anything as wholesome as that. It's because the elites hate cars. They don't want you driving cars. They say it's for the environment, but realistically speaking, it's because they don't want you to be able to move about without their permission. You right there?
Yeah, just the way you said car made me laugh.
Oh, okay.
It's the cars, damn it. They're after the cars.
They're after my goddamn car.
Sorry. Complete derail.
Anyway, let's if we go to the next one.
Speaking of which, though, actually, have you ever driven in Bath?
Yes, I've went there for the first time the other week, and it's an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful city. It is very annoying to drive around, but I did get recognised. And of all the places, I was not expecting a little crystal shop to have a very pleasant interaction where somebody recognised me in a positive way. In a university city full of tourists like Bath, especially in a crystal shop, I would have expected somebody to recognise me and try and throw something at me, like a milkshake.
Was it a woman?
It was a woman.
How did that go? Crystal shops. But
of course it was a woman at a crystal shop.
Where did you park?
I parked right next to the university, actually.
Oh, never mind.
It wasn't that expensive.
I drove around that goddamn place like 10 times. I had to go to the park and ride because there's just no space. Anyway.
I did basically get lost, but I accidentally found myself at a car park that had spaces, so I was like, beggars can't be choosers. Yeah. Make what you got. What are you saying, John? What's going on? Woman confirmed.
Why were you in the crystal shop?
Why was I in the crystal shop? Because I have a fiancée, and she wanted crystal necklaces. And I'm a man, therefore I have to provide money for crystal necklaces. Get away with it
this time.
All right.
I'll catch you in the crystal shop alone
engaged.
Next time.
Sure you are. Yeah, I may have met her, but still. Yeah, that's right.
So the idea you're walking around the women's lingerie, and I'm just like, oh, really, Harry? And you're like, the woman's here. What do you want?
yeah, sure. Likely story.
You ever get that weirdness when you're walking around lingerie and you're just I don't want to be here?
I make a point of it whenever I'm out with the missus and she goes clothes shopping, that whenever she needs to go to the actual part where she does the clothes shopping, I go somewhere else. I'm just I trust you. You won't get lost, probably, without me. So, just like, free reign. There you go.
Yeah. Sorry.
My general attitude. Massive tangent. And if you're watching...
Well, everything we do is massive tangents. Let's be honest.
If you're watching, person who recognised me, it was very nice to meet you. I hope you're having a good day. Shout out.
I'm pretty lovely.
Yes, let's go back onto it, though. So these are a bunch of the other places that are being talked about getting these 15-minute neighbourhoods. So they go all over the country. Birmingham, Blackpool, Brent, is Bath there as well, Canterbury, Oxford, Sheffield. They're going to be everywhere. Going to be absolutely everywhere. I'm shocked that I can't see Manchester anywhere, but it might just be that the list cuts off before you see places like Manchester. But nobody should want... Oh, wait, no, there it is. Greater Manchester Combined Authority. Yeah, they'll be popping up all over the country, and people are not particularly happy about it where they are being implemented, because Stan also shared this next thing, which is a video that we should watch of people not enjoying this new development.
So there's no audio?
In the dead of night, a hooded figure removes a base plate for a bollard, then pours cement into the hole. The aim, to make it hard to install a new one. This footage, obtained exclusively by ITV Meridian, is one of hundreds of incidents of vandalism in Oxford's local traffic neighbourhoods. Those removing the barriers often don't even wait for the cover of night. Now, new figures show just how much this kind of activity is costing. Delivery drivers,
What's this guy?
some filmed flouting the rules.
Just straight
condone it, but I can understand it because they're not listening to us, and that's where the anger's coming in. You know, that and people being stuck in traffic. There is no democracy in Oxford.
Wanton vandalism or a form of civil disobedience.
Yeah, I can't disavow that in the slightest. That's great.
Yeah.
That's, I disavow crime.
I was going to say, just to cover our backs legally, but I cannot strictly endorse this behaviour because you're breaking the law. I also fully understand why you would do such a thing. I do just like the image. I know they've edited it, but one after the other, them just driving over the bollard. Because
this reminds me, you know, we did a book club on the Chinese problems.
Yes.
And the thing that
troubles.
Yeah, the thing that finally ended the reign of communist terror every couple of years was just the public giving up and just going, I'm not going to follow your rules anymore.
Yeah,
and I mean, that is how you take away power from them.
And like suggested in the clip itself, nobody was asked. Nobody asked if they wanted this to happen to their neighbourhood. They just got told. You just got told, oh, by the way, you're not going to be able to drive in your neighbourhood anymore. Unless you've got a permit. And also this will mean... Because what they say is they're going to say, oh, it's going to cut down congestion, it's going to lead to a much... No, it won't. We've all driven around cities, we've all driven around towns. You have a local neighbourhood, if you're watching this, that you've probably driven around. You know the chaos that happens when one road gets closed that can be used as a convenient way for people to get cut across a town. It creates massive congestion everywhere else. So this doesn't actually make it convenient, make it any more convenient for anybody. It'll just mean that you're probably spending an extra 10 minutes in traffic driving around this road.
If you actually want to deal with congestion, more efficient public transport. So the only thing I know that works to actually deal with that. Just messing with roads never seems to work.
Well, that's part of this agenda and this initiative as we'll move forwards. But if this is how they expect to solve the 15-minute neighbourhood problem, then we know that these people are incompetent buffoons. So I don't trust them to be able to reform public transport in the slightest. As I mentioned, a lot of people are talking about this. Josh spoke about it recently because Josh went to university in Bath and used to live there. And he says in here it's one of the last authentic and aesthetically beautiful British cities. Probably one of the reasons it's one of the first places they're trying to implement it over here. It's a catastrophe that the World Economic Forum's 15-minute cities agenda is being enacted there to the detriment of those who live there and the many tourists who visit. Because like in the clips we just saw from Oxford, people in Bath aren't particularly happy about it as well and are saying that this is ridiculous. This is stupid. This will destroy the city. This will lead to, as they say in that headline there, commercial suicide. We will return to that article later. As it's mentioned, this is part of the climate agenda, which we'll see, because people talking about it like this man, Henry Grabber, whoever this is, quotes takes this screenshot from the New York Times where it's a climate map of the neighborhoods in your area and how badly they affect the environment, the climate impact of your neighborhood. So as we can see, all of the most impacted ones are the ones where you're allowed to drive, where you're allowed to do mean things like go where you want in your car.
So the thing in this map is they're trying to show, what is it, like CO2 emissions per person or whatever, mapped, right? And they're like, oh, look at how good the climate is in the big cities, or in those evil countrysides, the climate's being destroyed.
It's ridiculous.
Have you ever... Imagine having to think that.
I know.
You have never visited the countryside to think that that's what's destroying the world.
Top left, New York. New York City.
The air quality in New York City.
Beautiful, beautiful. Look.
In the countryside, it's just smog.
And we know this because the New York City part of the map is blue and green, and all the rest of it's red, so you know it's evil. New York good, everything else evil. It's such a childish, simplistic way of thinking.
Greenland destroying the world.
It's so ridiculous. And the fact that he puts it as here, the greenest things we can do as a society is allow more people to live in walkable neighborhoods close to jobs. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the permission, Henry, whoever you are, you twat.
You know, like walking?
I love walking. I love walking everywhere. The idea of a 15-minute neighborhood is actually a very pleasant idea. It's just that wankers like this are going to be the ones administering it, organizing it, arranging it.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a complete... It's not going to be for the purposes they say. They will sell you community... brotherhood with the people living around you, convenience, more green areas. What you will end up getting, I have no doubt that when they get you in these 15-minute neighborhoods, it won't just extend to you're not allowed to drive in them or around them or at them. It will extend to going to climate lockdowns in particular neighborhoods where we've decided that there's too much CO2 emissions and you're not allowed to go outside of your house.
Well, I've seen this kind of envy before. So Americans have this thing where, like, you want to be outside the city and drive in. And, of course, what that means is they don't end up having, like, a city you can just walk around in and live in because of the American way of dealing with the car model. So it's why they get this obsession. I've seen the same thing in the East, like in the Soviet countries. Like, the city layout was the same sort of stupid thinking. And they're all very jealous of, like, an Italian city or something like that where you can just walk around and go find stuff.
Yeah,
and
like in Bath, one of the reasons it's such a nightmare to drive around is because it's really easy to walk around.
Sure, but it's more the point of these guys come along and say, what if we destroy all the roads as well that connect you to the areas where you can walk? And it's like, that doesn't help.
Ah, but why don't you just buy a bicycle then? Bicycles cost money. You don't always want to
die.
Always. I mean, it's always going
to videos.
Yeah, and it always has to come out of your pocket at the end of the day anyway, doesn't it? Like, it's the let them buy Teslas mentality. Oh, you want a car? All right, then just drop 80 grand on a Tesla.
I can see why Americans get obsessed with such things and desire such things, but because of their layout is just, you know, a whole case of awful. But
yeah,
the idea of, like, just coming in and being like, yeah, this road no longer a road, it certainly isn't going to help anyone.
No, because I mean, this has been part of the agenda for a long time. Josh and I covered it a few months ago in the next link when we talked about the war on cars. So we know they already want to take away petrol and diesel cars by 2030, and if you want to keep a hold of them, you'll get massive restrictions on how you can use them. You'll get charged for where you use them, and that's all going to be part of this. This is all just part of the plan. At the end of the day, they want to take away your car, which is a direct assault on your autonomy and freedom. So that's one of the things. This is one of the ways that they're trying to do it, and like with everything else, so that they can get a nice bit of manufactured consent in there. They want to sell it to you in a way that sounds dead nice. So let's read it straight from the horse's mouth. What does the World Economic Forum have to say on the matter? Because they've got a lot of articles on this, and this is the one where they explore not just the benefits as they perceive them, but also the downsides, the potential pitfalls of a 15-minute city. So let's see what their issues are as well. So the first thing is they just state here, the 15-minute city aims to reorganize urban space around work, home, community, and amenities. The idea that every need is fulfilled within a 15-minute walk or short bike ride. And one of the things they seem to suggest is we also need to just install museums in every single one of these 15-minute areas, or at least suggest that you need to get to a museum within the 15 minutes as well, and other such things, and which sounds just wildly impractical. But urban life is about more than access to amenities, and the 15-minute model risks excluding disadvantaged communities. Even if there's a 15-minute baseline, great city centres with world-class experiences should remain accessible to all. So they recognise the issues. They know people won't like it at first, but that's not going to stop them from actually doing it anyway. They can say, oh yeah, there's all these downsides to it, but we don't really care. We don't really care. We'll implement it and we'll figure it out later, and we'll probably mess everything up while we're at it. And this, remember when Trudeau was talking about how they're going to learn from the lockdown crisis, the COVID crisis, and apply the lessons they learnt there to the climate crisis, as he described it, and everybody went, oh God, what's that going to manifest as? Are we going to get climate lockdowns? Yes. But they're going to be in this form. They're going to be in this form because they explicitly state over and over again in all of these articles, every single time, that this has all been accelerated by COVID, and they're taking the lessons they learned from COVID and applying them to this. Because I think they recognise now, after the response that they got, which is if we just say, outside is scary, stay indoors, a lot of people are going to be dumb enough to just agree with it and go along with it. Which is annoying. It will take. It does eventually hit a boiling point where people aren't happy with that anymore. But at least on the short term, you can get those results.
I don't know about you, but the only thing I learned from COVID is I trust the state even less.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely. But a lot of people still. You've got the.
With the idea that we're learning anything from the COVID period, like, that's all I learned.
Oh yeah. But they say here Excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. The pandemic has brought some lasting urban changes, including the attribution of streets once used for cars and parking to bike lanes, parklets, and restaurants. One of the biggest urban ideas to emerge from the pandemic is the idea of the 15-minute city or 15-minute neighborhood, which was developed by a French urbanist. And if those two words together don't get you quaking in your boots, they should do. Carlos Moreno. 15-minute city refers to a place where all the necessities of life, shops, schools, workplaces, doctors' office, parks, libraries, restaurants, and other amenities are located, blah, 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 within the 15-minute walk or bike ride. In this way, each neighborhood becomes an isochrone. We have created this fancy nonsense word to make it sound more official and scientific. An area which can be explored within a given time, giving all residents access to their needs a convenient walk away. This will eliminate the commute to work. Well, sounds all right. And anyone can walk to a small nearby park without having to hunt for parking spaces. We'll get better communities from all of this as well. It sounds almost utopian. For instance, we've got people already implementing it, not just in Bath and Oxford, but in elsewhere. Melbourne is proposing self-contained communities within an 800-metre radius. Portland, you know this is coming in Portland. It's part of their climate action plan, which has neighbourhoods of 90% of the residents can walk or bike to fulfill their daily needs. The most vocal proponent of the concept has remained Paris, where the concept originated. And only good ideas have ever come from Paris, don't you know? A broader plan to promote active mobility in lieu of cars. Car speed in Paris has been limited to 30 kilometers per hour on many streets. Automobiles have been banned along the Seine on one Sunday each month, and plans to include a biking lane on every street by 2024 are also in the works. And this is where I see that this is just doomed. This is doomed to fail for one reason and one reason only. There are already cycle lanes everywhere, all over this country, and every cyclist still chooses to ride their bicycle in the middle of the bloody road when I've got places to be. So
that's the law now.
From pure cyclist arrogance, this will fail. But what?
The highway code changed, so now cyclists should be in the middle of the road. That's what they're instructed to do.
Instead of the designated bicycle lanes.
The bicycle lane literally means zero now.
I mean,
actual madness.
This is just formalization of what cyclists. This has been pro-cyclist activism. I'm anti-cyclist activist because cyclists are. If you're a cyclist watching this, please cover your ears right now.
My bike a lot.
Many cyclists are scum, and I despise them. We need to get them off the streets and get them help. Okay, I've ridden a bicycle for years. I love it, but whenever I have done, I make sure to be as courteous as possible to drivers, because I have been the driver stuck behind a cyclist, staring at their flabby arses. Okay, and I don't want to be that guy.
I feel like this rant is a long time coming.
Maybe.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay. All right. So let's now I've got that out of my system. Let's carry on. So it turns out that the concept is not always a fit. What's going on?
I can't read it. just the chat's views.
Are they agreeing with me? Are they broadly agreeing?
They're
with
going
me?
further than you.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Radical anti-cyclist action now. Anyway. It turns out the concept is not always a fit for everyone. American cities and suburbs might only take the 15-minute cutoff if this could be done in a car. So it doesn't really... They're just accepting, it doesn't really apply to America. America's its own thing. It's a weird country. We can't really do it over there. 15-minute communities do little to alter the harsh realities of economic and geographical inequality. They're mainly a fit for affluent urban neighborhoods and far less a fit in the disadvantaged parts of our cities. It's almost like this is an idea come up with entirely by affluent urbanites. So the only solution to this will be communism. The only solution will be economic redistribution, as with everything, and climate lockdowns in your little neighborhoods as well. I mean, I'm extrapolating. That's not actually stated explicitly, obviously. But do you put it past them?
The obsession is what is revealing to me, because if you wanted to deal with congestion, the only thing you do is increase public transport and make it more efficient. And it works every time. Every time that's been tried, it fixes the problem. And when you come to me and say, no, what I'm going to do is stop putting bollards in the middle of random roads, I'm going to start with my new theories of how cities should work.
It's not improving life for anybody. It's just making life more inconvenient for drivers. That's what this has always been planning at. It is already basically policy in England to start doing this, because it's not just individual cities and councils implementing it. What it is in the next link is it's the active proposal for Natural England to unveil a new green infrastructure framework, which says that they are going to increase the amount of green cover up to 40% in urban residential areas. That sounds lovely. That sounds really... I've lived in Manchester. Honestly, it can be quite depressing living in a big grey concrete block of a city. So you want more greenery in the area. That's always nice. And parks and green spaces in England deliver an estimated £6.6 billion of health, climate change and environmental benefits every year. Why does it have to be framed economically? Why can it not just be, it will be nicer for people? Why does it have to be, we'll save money? We'll save money if we do this. But with 80% of people now living in towns and cities, 1/3 of people do not have access to good quality green and blue space within 15 minutes of their home. There it is, just 15 minutes. That's what it is. They will sell you it as this. They will sell you it as you will get nicer cities, you will get better neighbourhoods. What you will get is the climate lockdowns in your neighbourhoods. That's what's going to happen. Bath, as I said, we would return to that article. They were not happy about it. So this was the council's Journey to Net Zero consultation, where they proposed these 4 districts. The city would be split into 4 cells, and there would be no traffic in the city centre. There would only be 1 or 2 access points on each of the outer boundaries for vehicles, and they will be prevented from passing from one cell to another, although movement of pedestrians, cyclists and public transport would be unrestricted. The council will consider demand management measures such as a congestion charge, public transport discounts and workplace levy, and staggered start times for business and schools. This all sounds very convoluted when, as you mentioned, as always, you could just improve public transport.
How about some buses?
How about some buses, bro? There you go.
More buses.
This has also come to Torquay, where people have been very, very annoyed because they've had protests over there saying that you're going to restrict our freedom. Fair. The council insisted we have absolutely no plans to impose restrictions on movement, either now or in the future. I do not believe you. I mean, you might sincerely believe that now. You might sincerely mean it right now. But in the long term, I do not believe you. When you're putting this infrastructure in place to do such a thing, and I know the sorts of people that are going to be behind it all, I do not trust you. Once again, the idea on paper is nice, but it's how it's implemented in practical reality which will matter. And whoever is at the reins of this idea, it will be their will that determines what goes on. And we know the will of the elites as it stands right now. And if you want more information on the background of it, I found this Spiked article talking about it. And let's see who's at the reins of this idea, who came up with this idea, as well as that French urban planner, Carlos Moreno. So it started with C40, chaired today by London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Bet that fills you with hope. C40 calls itself a network of mayors of nearly 100 world-leading cities collaborating to deliver urgent action needed right now to confront the climate crisis. Central to the birth of the project was another former London mayor, Ken Livingstone. Central to the birth of the... Livingstone was often explicit in his anti-car ideology. In 1999, shortly before becoming mayor, he famously remarked, "I hate cars. If I ever get any powers again, I'd ban the lot." I also dislike driving, but there's a utility to it, which outweighs the negatives, as far as I'm concerned. As mayor in 2005, he staged the first C20 climate change summit. Within a year, his initiative was backed by former US President Bill Clinton, another very respectable, very trustworthy man. It was by Clinton's charitable foundation. In 2007, billionaire New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg hosted the second summit. By this point, the group had been renamed C40, as it featured 36 mayors from major global cities. C40's mayors would later be invited to COP21, Climate Confab in Paris in 2015, which is where Carlos Moreno, that French urban planner, decided to put forward the idea of the 15-minute city in the first place. So if we've got this radical melding of minds, does it fill you with hope that all of these people were involved in coming up with the idea?
Right, I'm not ecstatic, no.
No. Neither am I. But this might be coming
Although
to a
Kane Livingstone turns up and is just like, I'm going to ban all the cars. It's like, Hitler was right.
But this
People who don't know, Ken has been kicked out of the Labour Party for anti-Semitism, so...
Yeah, so basically, this will be coming to a city near you. This will probably be coming to a town near you. This will be coming to your city and your town. You might even start to see bollards pop up in places that they didn't used to, right in the middle of the roads to make sure that nobody can come down particular roads. While I do not condone crime, I do... if it's for a good cause. Am I not allowed to say that? Am I not allowed to say
that's getting beeped.
Okay, all right. Civil disobedience in the sense of not committing crimes.
I'm very understanding of what has happened.
Yes, I'm understanding of civil disobedience in the face of such things, so act accordingly.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the premium articles, this one on the anatomy of the communist, with an audio track for silver and gold tier members, of course. If you'd like to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.